morning, I am Praram with the Hal. Let's begin with the main stories. Governments of Nepal and Malaysia slated to forge labour agreement today to allow recruitment of Nepalese migrants free of cost, expected to stop the cheating by manpower companies. Supreme judicial entity supposed to sort out dispute between federal and provincial governments remains defunct for the past 8 months, create hurdles in constitution implementation as well. Far-right candidate Jair Bolsonaro wins a sweeping victory in Brazil's presidential election. Bolsonaro had campaigned on a promise to eradicate corruption and to drive down Brazil's high crime levels. And Barcelona thrashed Real Madrid 5-1 at the season's first El Clasico in the Spanish La Liga. Lackluster Real Madrid in all sorts of trouble. The government is slated to ink a labour agreement with Malaysia after 17 years since the country has become the favourite destination for Nepalese migrant workers. The agreement will let Nepalese workers acquire employment in the Malaysian market on free visa and end the government's ban on workers from going to Malaysia imposed 5 months ago. Malaysia is the foremost destination for Nepalese migrant workers with more than 600,000 Nepalese already working in the country. The government placed a ban on sending workers to Malaysia 5 months ago after reports that the migrant workers were compelled to process their documents only through prescribed manpower companies that deceived them. The government also took action against 4 dozen companies that were found imposing illicit fees from job aspirants in the pretext of health checkup and visa processing. The process of labour agreement between Nepal and Malaysia has been moved forward in a bid to secure the workers' rights and safety in the foreign land. The new agreement is expected to allow Nepalese workers to leave for Malaysia without any cost, and that the visa and travel expenses would be borne by the employer organizations themselves. The ministerial level agreement has already been forged between both the countries in this regard. The implementation of the agreement would now be sorted out by the bilateral task force. The government had introduced the provision of cost-free visa and ticket for workers going to Malaysia and 6 Gulf nations 4 years ago. The manpower agencies, however, blatantly breached the provision and continued collecting haphazard fees from job aspirants due to the government's weak monitoring and regulation. Experts are of the view that the labour agreement should clear on workers' safety, along with the party that should be responsible for expenses regarding health checkup, visa and air ticket. This is necessary to stop the swindling of manpower companies and abolish the chances of another labour syndicate to the plight of migrant workers from reoccurring. At a time when a clash of jurisdiction between the federal and provincial governments has continued, the supreme authority responsible to come up with a legal remedy to the matter too has remained defunct for the past 8 months. The trend of delaying in setting up judicial benches for a long time and failure to prioritize hearing of cases even after the establishment has raised question over the constitutional provision itself. As per the Constitution, a constitutional bench comprising the Chief Justice along with 4 other justices is supposed to sort out the dispute on jurisdiction between the federal, provincial and local governments. The Constitutional Bench also has the right to look after extraordinary disputes under the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, even in case of clash between legal provisions. The bench is also supposed to do away with ambiguities and complexities in terms of implementation of the Constitution. However, such a bench has remained a far cry even when the clash of rights between the federal and provincial governments has attained a new height. This has also raised questions over the significance of the constitutional provision that is likely to have a long-term impact on law and order along with the nation's development. We've got more news coming up, but right now it is time for a short break. Nepal suffered a trade deficit of 350 billion rupees in the first 3 months of this fiscal year. This is 46% more than the amount last year. The trade deficit, which was seen higher from the first month, further increased because of the imports for the festivities including Dasai and Tihar. Most of the goods seen in the market have been imported. Imported goods have occupied the market during the festivities due to very low domestic production. According to the Customs Department, goods worth 375 billion rupees were imported between mid-July to mid-October. Agricultural products worth 36.2 billion rupees were imported during this period. However, Nepalese goods worth only 20 billion rupees were exported during the same time. While import has increased by 44%, exports have seen a growth of only 16%, which has resulted in the growth of trade deficit by 46%. If the trade deficit continues to increase at the current trend, the nation will have to suffer losses that will amount more than the national budget. The price of imported goods have increased as the value of US dollars have increased by 18% in comparison to last year. Although the government has announced that it would decrease the trade deficit, it has not given priority to increasing industrial and agricultural production within the country. A 79-member medical team associated with Al-Hoa Medical Mission of the United States has set up a health camp at the district hospital Dhankuta, providing different medical services. The mission has been pledging access to free medical services to the poor and deprived people. In this context, we had asked the patients visiting the health camp what was their take on the services they have been provided with. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
आफ्नो घर छेउमा यस्तो निकाल्दा निशुल्क यस्तो सेवा सुविधा हामीलाई पाउँदा धेरै खुसी लागिरहेछ।
हामीलाई अब वहाँ टाढा जान नपर्ने गाउँ घरमै अब सुविधा हुँदाखेरि अब धेरै राम्रो भइरहेको छ।
खर्च धेरै लाग्छ अन्त गर्दाखेरि शिविरमा जानु भनेर सबैले करायो अनि म आएको।
उपचार अहिलेसम्म ठिकै छ, राम्रो छ। मैले पहिलो शिविरमा पनि मेरो नानीलाई ल्याएको हो हैन, लेफ्ट साइडमा गरेका थियौं, अहिले राइट साइडमा भइरहेछ, राम्रै छ, ठिकै छ।
हामी जस्तो निम्न आय भएको मान्छेले उपचार गराउन नसकेर गाउँमा बसेको धेरै मान्छेहरू छन्। एउटा हर्नियाको उपचार हो भनेको 70-80 हजारसम्म खर्च हुन्छ। प्राइभेट हस्पिटलले गर्नु पर्यो भने लाखौं रुपैयाँ पनि गुमाइदिन्छन्। अब यहाँ त निशुल्क भनेपछि त्यसै पनि मान्छे हौसला भएर आएका छन्।
राम्रो उपचार हुन्छ, विदेशी डाक्टरहरू जस राम्रो पहिला पनि राम्रो गरेर जानु भएको छ र अहिले पनि अब राम्रै हुन्छ र त्यही गराउनु पर्छ भन्ने खालको सल्लाह दिनुभयो।
यो सेवा नितान्त आवश्यक छ र एकदम प्रभावकारी छ र आगामी दिनहरु पनि यस्ता सेवाहरूलाई चाहिँ एकदम अझ बृहत रूपमा सञ्चालन गर्नुपर्ने मलाई चाहिँ लागेको छ।
It is now time for the segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, what should be done to reduce the increasing trade deficit? Your options are A. Increase the use of domestic products, and B. Promote export. The voting is on. You can type NEWS, select your option A or B, and then send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. With this, let us move on to the sports news.
Sports news.
Barcelona defeated Real Madrid 5-1 in the season's first El Clasico at the Spanish La Liga last night. Lionel Messi watched the match from the bench as he missed out the crucial fixture due to an injury. Felipe Coutinho scored in the 11th minute of the match, and Barcelona took an early 1-0 lead. Luis Suarez then doubled Barcelona's lead through a penalty kick in the 30th minute after Rafael Varane fouled Suarez inside the D box. Marcelo scored for Real Madrid in the 50th minute and cut the deficit to 2-1. Luis Suarez netted the third and fourth goals of Barcelona in the 75th and 83rd minute, while Arturo Vidal scored the fifth in the 87th minute, sealing Barca's 5-1 win over Real Madrid. Suarez has now joined the likes of Lionel Messi and Romario to score a hat-trick in the El Clasico. It was the first time since 2010 that Real Madrid conceded 5 goals against Barcelona in a competitive fixture. Last night's El Clasico was the first since 2007 without the presence of Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi. Ronaldo had left for Juventus earlier this year. The loss is yet another disappointment for Real Madrid, and manager Julian Lopetegui might soon get in the axe. With the win, Barcelona are now at the top of the La Liga table with 21 points. Real Madrid are placed 9th in the table with 14 points from just 10 matches. Now, Manchester United saw off Everton 2-1 at the English Premier League match played last night. Paul Pogba scored first in the match through a rebound after his penalty kick was saved by Everton goalkeeper Jordan Pickford. Jose Mourinho's side doubled their lead early in the second half as Anthony Martial found the net in the 49th minute. Gylfi Sigurdsson reduced the deficit to 2-1 in the 77th minute for the visitors through a penalty. Everton failed to score again in the match despite creating wonderful opportunities. Manchester United have now climbed to the 8th position in the EPL table with 17 points. In other matches played yesterday, Chelsea thrashed Burnley 4-0 as Alvaro Morata, Ross Barkley, Willian and Ruben Loftus-Cheek were on the score sheet while Arsenal settled for a dramatic 2-all stalemate against Crystal Palace. Liverpool lead the English Premier League table with 26 points from 10 matches, while Chelsea are placed second with 24 points. Defending champions Manchester City are placed third with 23 points but have a game in hand. City play against Tottenham Hotspur in the late-night fixture slated for tonight. Liverpool, Chelsea and City are the only unbeaten team at the EPL season so far. Pakistan have defeated Australia by 33 runs to whitewash the 3-match T20 International Series. The ultimate fixture of the tour shaped up as the most competitive match of the series, but in the end, Australia could not keep up with Pakistan. A 93-run opening stand between Saifzada Farhan and Babar Azam, who top scored for Pakistan yet again with 50 runs, took Pakistan to a total in a region that's been too good for Australia all series. This time they reached a square 150, and even though the visitors started brightly, Imad Wasim was dispatched for 20 runs in the first over. The pressure of Pakistan's bowling took its toll on Australia. Aaron Finch's men ended up comfortably second best, bowled out for just 117 runs. That's what they've been in comparison to Pakistan all tour, and that's how they go home. Sadaf Khan was the pick of the bowlers of Pakistan as he grabbed 3 wickets, while Hassan picked 2. Babar Azam was declared the man of the series. Pakistan next play against New Zealand, while Australia go head-to-head against South Africa. And now, before we wrap up, here's a look at the top stories one more time. Governments of Nepal and Malaysia slated to forge labor agreement to allow recruitment of Nepalese migrants free of cost. Expected to stop cheating by manpower companies. Supreme judicial entity supposed to sort out dispute between federal and provincial governments remains defunct for the past 8 months. Create hurdles in constitutional implementation as well. Far-right candidate Jair Bolsonaro wins a sweeping victory in Brazil's presidential election. Bolsonaro had campaigned on a promise to eradicate corruption and to drive down Brazil's high crime levels. And Barcelona thrashed Real Madrid 5-1 at the season's first El Clasico in the Spanish La Liga. Lackluster Real Madrid in all sorts of trouble. That is all for the moment. Keep watching Kantipur Television SD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.